Let's be real for a second. Most meetings are just bad. They drain your energy, they kill your productivity, and you walk out wondering what was even decided. But what if I told you there's a science to running meetings that actually work? That they can be powerful decision-making sessions? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into. Before we get started though, please take a quick moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more expert breakdowns like this one.
Oh yeah, you've been there. We all have. You're sitting in a conference room, or maybe staring into your webcam, just watching the clock tick by, thinking about the mountain of actual work that's piling up. That feeling, that universal frustration, that's exactly why we're here. The good news is, it really doesn't have to be this way. There's a playbook for this, and we're going to walk through it.
And it's funny, the modern workplace is kind of torn on how to fix this problem. A recent Forbes survey shows this really interesting tug of war. You've got over half of us, 54%, who prefer tech-enabled meetings because, let's face it, they're efficient. But then you have this huge chunk, 40%, who still believe in the power of face-to-face time for building real connections and, reading the room. It's this classic battle: do we go for pure productivity or for human connection?
So our journey to mastering meetings is going to happen in 3 simple steps. First, we'll lay down a strong foundation. That's all the stuff you need to do before a meeting even gets on the calendar. Then we'll get into the art of execution, so how to actually run the thing. And finally, we'll cover the crucial follow-through that turns all that talk into real, concrete action.
All right, let's jump into Section 1, the foundations. You might be surprised to hear this, but the most important part of any meeting happens long before anyone walks into the room. Yep, success isn't found during the meeting, it's forged in the preparation.
So before you even think about booking a room or sending out that calendar invite, you have to ask yourself the single most important question: do I actually need to have this meeting? It sounds so obvious, right? But honestly, challenging this one simple assumption is the first giant leap toward getting your time back.
So how do you decide? Just run through this quick 4-question test. First, could this whole thing be handled with a quick phone call or an email? Be honest. Second, could you just communicate this in a simple memo? Third, are the key decision makers, the people who actually matter, available and prepared? And finally, do you realistically have enough time scheduled to solve the problem? If you answered yes to those first 2 or no to the last 2, just cancel the meeting. Seriously.
Okay, so you've run the test, and a meeting is definitely the right move. The very next step is to get crystal clear on its purpose, because pretty much every productive meeting you'll ever have falls into one of 4 distinct categories.
First up, you got the task-oriented meeting. This is your logistical workhorse. Think about planning the grand opening for a new company branch. The goal here isn't to debate big-picture strategy. It's all about figuring out who does what, by when, to make sure everything goes off without a hitch. Second is the progress meeting. This is all about rhythm. It's your weekly sales review, your daily stand-up, your project status update. It's a check-in, plain and simple. The whole point is to monitor momentum, spot any problems early, and just make sure the train stays on the tracks.
Third, we've got the information sharing meeting. This is basically a broadcast, usually from the top down. It's when the CEO announces a big new partnership, or when the research team unveils their latest breakthrough. It's about getting critical info to the right people efficiently.
And finally, we have the heavyweight champion, the problem-solving meeting. These are, by far, the most complex and the most crucial. This is where you wrestle with the big, hairy challenges, where you make major strategic decisions, and where you change company policy. These are high stakes, and they demand some serious preparation.
Now that you know your why, it's time to build your how. And your single most powerful tool for that is the agenda. Please, don't think of it as just a list of topics. A great agenda is a detailed blueprint. It's the architecture for the entire meeting, from start to finish.
And a truly killer agenda has 5 parts that you just can't skip. It's got to have the time and place, obviously. It needs to list every single participant. It has to provide all the necessary background info beforehand so people can come prepared. It needs to have sharp, result-oriented goals, not just vague discussion topics. And finally, it must spell out exactly what preparation is expected from everyone attending. Get this right, and I promise, you're already halfway to a great meeting.
And that brings us to Section 2, executing the perfect meeting. The groundwork is laid, so now it's showtime. But here's the thing. A successful meeting isn't a solo performance. It's a duet that requires both a skilled chairperson and truly engaged participants.
You know, the role of the chairperson is so widely misunderstood. They're not the boss of the meeting. They're the conductor of the orchestra. Their job isn't to play every instrument themselves. It's to draw out the absolute best performance from each person in that room, making sure every voice contributes to a productive, harmonious outcome.
And one of the most powerful tools that Conductor can use is something called the nominal group technique. It's a genius way to make sure every single voice is heard, not just the loudest ones. It's a simple 5-step process. 1. Everyone silently writes down their ideas. 2. All those ideas are collected and shared, but anonymously. 3. The group discusses each idea, but only to clarify what it means. 4. Everyone privately ranks the ideas. And 5. The top-ranked ideas are discussed for a final decision. This process is brilliant because it just bypasses groupthink and lets the best ideas rise to the top.
Of course, a great chairperson also has to master the art of asking good questions. An overhead question like this one is perfect for just opening up the floor. It's a general invitation to the whole group, and it's designed to get the conversation rolling and see where the energy is.
But what happens when the same 2 or 3 people dominate the conversation? Well, that's when a skilled chairperson pulls out a direct question. By respectfully and specifically asking a quieter team member like Sam here for their thoughts, you make sure their crucial perspective isn't lost. It's a simple move that encourages much more balanced participation.
But hey, it's not all on the person running the meeting. Every single participant has a responsibility to show up and contribute effectively. The code of conduct is pretty simple. Be brief and stay on topic. Don't speak just to hear yourself talk. Add real value. Give credit to others' good ideas, keep an open mind, and to keep things orderly, always address the chair.
Okay, before we jump into our final section, if you're finding this detailed analysis helpful, a quick like and subscription really helps us create more in-depth learning resources like this. So, let's talk about the final critical piece, from meeting to action. Because, let's be honest, a meeting is totally pointless if nothing actually happens afterward. This is where you turn all that great discussion into tangible, real-world results.
A great chairperson's work isn't done when the meeting ends, not even close. They have 3 crucial follow-up duties. 1. Immediately plan the next meeting if it's needed, carrying over anything that wasn't resolved. 2. Relentlessly check in on the progress of every single action item that was assigned. And 3. Lead by example and get their own assigned tasks done quickly.
And the tool that makes all of this possible? Meeting minutes. I know they sound boring, but stop thinking of them as some tedious chore. Minutes aren't just a summary, they are the official record of commitment. They create clarity, they assign ownership, and they build a powerful chain of accountability.
Now, for more formal meetings, your minutes might look something like this. But the key thing isn't the exact format, it's the function. Good minutes are not a word-for-word transcript of who said what. They are a record of decisions. They clearly list who was there, what was proposed, and most importantly, what actions were agreed upon and who is responsible for them. This kind of structure leaves zero room for confusion later on.
So there you have it. We've gone through the entire playbook, the essential foundation before you even start, the precise execution during the meeting, and the critical follow-through that actually ensures something happens. The blueprint is right here. The only question left is, armed with all these tools, how are you going to run your next meeting? Thank you so much for watching. If you feel like you've mastered this concept, show your support by liking this video and subscribing before you go.